Yo, what is up? Welcome to Ninja Geek Games. Some people like to wake up to the smell of coffee, but for me it's burning coal, smelting iron and slick oil, which is a coincidence, because Furnace from Arcane Wonders brings just that. Here you take on the role of a 19th century capitalist, exploiting the economy to make money by gaining companies, extracting and converting resources, and then selling them for the big bucks. This game boasts bidding and engine building that allows simultaneous play in a 2 to 4 player game where the winner is the capitalist with the largest profit. Cha-ching! I was initially surprised by how little you actually get in the box considering its size, but don't be fooled. There's a small deck of company cards that are double-sided showing the resources they provide and the actions that you can take for converting or selling. I really like the artwork on them and they have this vintage and almost weathered appearance, which is a nice touch. These are the capitalist cards representing your avatar for the game and provide you with an ongoing ability, and these are all the player tokens. They don't really do much but just indicate the player colour for the bidding capital disc that each player makes use of. There are just 3 resources available which come in the form of some cool wooden tokens for coal, iron and oil, and a load of money and upgrade tokens. This die is used for 2-player games, and this little contraption is the round counter. The company cards sit on the plate and this dial rotates indicating which round you're in, and I think it's great. Lastly, you can get a really nice looking game mat that has areas to store company cards and round tracker, a market area and all of the resources, which is of really good quality. So, not too many components in the game and it does leave a lot of space in the box once everything is punched and stored, but it does fit the game mat. All the components are of a pretty decent quality, to include both thick cardstock and wooden tokens, so they're nice and durable. Setup doesn't take too long either. Simply give each player a starting factory card and a few resources, as well as all the components of one colour and a capitalist card. Then shuffle the company deck and you're ready to extract, convert and sell. But in which order? The beauty of this game is that it's quite fast paced and very easy to learn. The difficulty, as we'll see, is organising your actions and deciding how to carry out your bidding. During a round, the company cards form a market-like area where players take turns bidding on them using their discs, which are numbered 1 to 4. The player with the highest value disc wins the card, but all other bidders will at least be compensated with the potential to gain resources. Then players will use actions shown on their claimed company card in their play area to gain more resources or convert ones they have to a different type, as well as have the options to upgrade these companies and earn some extra cash. In the bidding or auction phase, players will use their capital discs to try and claim cards. There are a few rules to follow so that each company can only hold a maximum of 1 of each player's disc, and 2 discs of the same value cannot share the same card. The player with the highest value disc on a company card can claim that card into their play area, but before this happens, all other players with a disc on that card may get compensated. Here they get the reward or the action indicated at the top of the card a number of times equal to the value of the disc they played. So here, the yellow player would get 2 iron and the white player would gain 1. But on this company, Orange can convert 1 of their iron into 4 coal, where they could do this twice, and this is carried out for all companies in order. Next is production. Over time you'll end up with a number of company cards in your play area, and now you get to activate them in any order and carry out the actions. Similar to conversions, some actions will provide you with resources, others require you to spend them to gain a different type or money. However, the limited number of times you can do this is indicated for each conversion or sale, and you can only do this for coloured actions. If you want to be able to use the additional effect below, you must first find a way to upgrade, which is indicated by this symbol and is always present on your starting card. Spend the resources and you can choose any card to flip that gives you an additional and generally better action for the remainder of the game. That's it. It's an incredibly simple format, but deep down brings out some wonderful gameplay tied in with some great mechanics. First, bidding. If you really want that particular company card, stick your highest value disc on it. But making use of those compensation actions is a little more tricky. Some require you to have a specific resource in your play area to convert. If you don't have it, you can't make use of that action. You may be able to carry out some zabby chain linking though. Gaining some coal in an early compensation action may allow you to convert it to steel in a later one in that round. This could provide you with that vital resource for one of the card actions in your play area, or enable you to get the benefit of another compensation action at the end of the track. Don't forget, you get compensated a number of times matching the value of the disc that you placed. But be warned, your simple plan may fail. Many a time I've placed a 3-value disc onto a company card hoping to carry out the compensation action thrice. But to my dismay, no other player had placed a disc of higher value here, so instead I've ended up claiming the card, where its main actions were rather limited in the production phase. Grrr. The production phase requires you to carry out as many actions as possible from the lower part of the companies in your play area, and these are the cards that you've won at auction and bidding. In the base game rules, you can activate any card in any order, but must fully resolve the card before moving on to another. You can't claim coal here to convert it to iron here and then use that iron for the next action on the previous card. This is where it becomes beautifully crunchy, deciding which cards to activate and in which order. If I do this, I get a load of resources to use on that card, but I don't have the oil to gain the money here. But if I use that company card, it allows me to upgrade this one to get oil for the first card. Not too bad when you have just 2 or 3 cards at the start of the game, but as you start getting 6, 7 or 8 companies, it can cause your mind to melt and is hugely rewarding experience if you manage to generate a load of dollar. Yes, this can lead to the dreaded AP, where you may need to move a few resources around to see what works best, but then you forget your link. At times you may realise you've activated cards in the wrong order and want to backtrack, but it's hard resetting all spent resources, so you'll want to try and avoid this. However, Furnace makes this more efficient by allowing all players to do this at the same time, so in most cases you're only waiting for that one player. The same one, each and every round. I like the fact that you get to upgrade cards, and by the end of the game most companies have been flipped over, but again deciding which ones to upgrade at that time can be changed around from a good one to a great one. There are also some nice variants available. You can use capitalist cards that provide each player with unique ability throughout the game. These can provide you with an extra auction disc or allow you to ignore all rules for disc placement, and I recommend using these at all times. The other variant is only for those forged in a furnace. When you win a company card, you can put it anywhere you like within the chain of those already collected, but during production you must activate them from left to right in the order they've been placed. They remain this way for the whole game, where it does become very challenging. If playing with 2 players, the game adds a nice dummy player where an agent's discs are placed on cards in the auction phase by rolling dice. The rules for this are pretty straightforward. Where the agent doesn't gain any cards or resources, it just acts as a blocker, and it works well. This game has been on my list to play for some time, but I didn't think it would get much table time, as I do generally go for games with a solo mode, in most instances. However, I shouldn't have delayed for 2 reasons. One, this is a great competitive game at all player counts, and I've really enjoyed every game I've played so far. Secondly, Arcane Wonders must have heard my call, because they've recently released an expansion that not only adds some extra mechanics, but also a solo variant. Interbellum expands into the 20th century that provides more company and capitalist cards, manager tokens providing new abilities and components for a 5th player, to name a few. These are the new company cards, which now provide some instant effects when claimed or upgraded. They're incorporated into the base game company cards, but there is a bit of deck assembly at setup to ensure it's balanced. There are also a few extra capitalist cards available that provide more unique abilities to players. This one lets you take the compensation action of company cards in your play area during production, whereas others use some of the new components from the expansion. Other than adding components for a 5th player, Interbellum adds 2 new modules. First is the variable capital discs. During auction, you can spend any quantity of coal to increase the value of these discs and use them when bidding. This gives each player the possibility for a 5th bid, but only if you have the resources to use it. Now, whoever said you're too cool for school? Interbellum adds business school cards to the end of the market area, where manager tokens can be claimed during auction. The compensation action is similar, but the business school cards now allow you to choose or mix and match the compensation action shown. The player who wins the bid here claims the manager token instead of the card. During production, you can choose a company card to associate with your collected manager tokens that either alter the actions or provide free resources or rewards for selling, for example. The added modules are a great addition to the base game, and I now don't play without them. Having variability in auction by spending resources to gain an extra capital disc really helps claim a vital compensation action, that sought after card or manager token. This and the fifth player increase game length, but it's still over pretty quickly at just 4 rounds. For solo play and 2-player games, you make use of agent cards, which now act as more of an automa rather than a blocker. In solo play, you use 2 random agent cards and they make use of capital discs as before, but the agent card indicates exceptions for target companies after rolling and which disc is placed, as well as the value of the variable discs, which is constant. Each of the agent claims cash at compensation and now also gains companies and possibly manager tokens. During production, they'll earn extra money based on the company cards they've collected, and this is why they have a preference. Due to this, the agents can now steal manager tokens you've had your eye on, outbid you for companies, and kick your ass by owning more money than you at the end of the game. I love this game. The base game is great, but the addition of Interbellum makes it fantastic and just adds another level of intricacy without making it overly complex. Its engine building is solid with great variability based on your starting and capitalist cards, as well as an array of manager tokens where you can pick and choose how they interact with your companies. In its most basic form, Furnace is a very simple game, but when it's laid out in front of you, it becomes a multifaceted engine builder and is a joy to play. And no, you don't need a top hat and beard to play. Well, I'm halfway there. This is Ninja Geek Games. Cheers.